faded into the horizon, the of lush. The shoe a deep, velvety blue, and the bright and full cloudy over the pine trees, spilling twisted branch, every wild berry bush, and every quiet little fox. Mia lay curled in her den beneath a gnarled, her reddish orange fur glowing softly in the moonlight that seeped through the cracks. Amber eyes staring at the faint of a spider web. She tried to close them, so Mia's den was cozy and safe. Wool she'd found in a dry autumn. Beside there was a small tree she'd gathered that afternoon. There in her tiny paws she'd found by the brook. She liked to hold it when she felt restless, because it was warm and heavy, like a little hug. Everything around her was meant to calm her, but her mind was racing, filled with tiny, busy thoughts that wouldn't quiet down. "Why won't sleep come?" Mia whispered, her voice as soft as the rustle of dry grass. She stretched out her paw and touched the stone beside her, feeling its warmth seep into her fur. She thought about the flock of sheep she'd seen grazing in the meadow that morning, their soft bleats echoing through the trees, and wondered if they were curled up safely in their pen, warm and dry. She thought about the honeycomb she'd spotted high up in an oak tree, glistening golden in the sun, and wondered if the bees were sleeping soundly inside, dreaming of sweet nectar. She even thought about the little girl who'd visited the forest that afternoon, wearing a red coat and carrying a basket, and worried if she'd found her way home before dark. These thoughts swirled around in her head like leaves in a light wind, light but persistent, making her eyelids feel heavy but her mind wide awake. Maybe I should go outside, Mia thought. Maybe the night air will calm me, and maybe the moon will tell me a secret that helps me sleep. She carefully crawled out of her den, her paws stepping softly on the cool earth. Trying not to make a sound, she didn't want to wake the other animals who were already fast asleep. The forest at night was a magical place. The moonlight turned the grass into a silver carpet, and every dewdrop on the leaves sparkled like a tiny diamond, catching the light of the moon and stars. The air was cool and fresh, mixed with the scent of pine needles and the faint, sweet aroma of night-blooming jasmine. Mia took a deep breath, and the cool air filled her lungs, making her feel a little lighter, as if some of her worries had drifted away with the breeze. She trotted slowly along the winding path that led to the brook, her paws barely making a sound on the soft moss. Along the way, she passed many sleeping animals, a family of badgers curled up together in their underground den, their soft snores echoing faintly, a little owl chick nestled in its nest high up in a pine tree, its head tucked under its wing. Even the busy ladybugs had crawled under the leaves of a daisy, their red and black shells glowing softly in the moonlight. "Everyone is asleep but me," Mia sighed, stopping at the edge of the brook. The water was calm and clear, like a mirror, reflecting the moon, the stars, and the trees that lined its banks. She could see small fish swimming slowly at the bottom, their silver scales glinting in the moonlight, as if they were dancing to a song only they could hear. The brook gurgled softly as it flowed over smooth stones, a gentle, rhythmic sound that felt like a lullaby. Just then, she heard a soft, melodic sound, like a tiny voice singing, but not quite. It was faint, almost like a whisper, coming from the other side of the brook. Mia's ears perked up, her curiosity getting the better of her. She carefully hopped over the stones that jutted out of the water, her paws landing softly on each one, until she reached the other bank. There, sitting on a large, flat rock, was a tiny hedgehog named Hugo. He was small, even for a hedgehog, with soft, brown spines and big, round eyes that shone in the moonlight. In his paws, he held a small, glowing flower. Its petals were white, and it emitted a soft, warm light, like a tiny lantern. The melodic sound was coming from the flower, a gentle hum that seemed to match the gurgle of the brook. "Hello," Mia said softly, not wanting to startle him. Hugo looked up, his eyes wide with surprise, then smiled, a small, gentle smile that made his cheeks look round and cozy. "I'm Mia. I couldn't sleep, and I heard your flower singing. What is it?" "Hello, Mia," Hugo said, his voice tiny and soft, like the rustle of a dandelion. "This is a moonflower. It only blooms at night, and it sings a lullaby to help the forest sleep. My grandma gave it to me. She said it has magic in its petals, magic that calms worried hearts. I'm Hugo, by the way. I come here every night to let the moonflower sing, to make sure all the animals sleep well. That's beautiful, Mia said, sitting down gently beside him, careful not to get pricked by his spines. I wish it could calm my heart. I have too many thoughts, and I can't fall asleep. It can, Hugo said, holding the moonflower out to her. Just listen to its song, and breathe slowly. Let the sound wrap around you, like a warm blanket. The moonflower knows how to quiet busy minds. It sings the song of the moon, and the moon always knows how to calm us. Mia leaned closer, her ears drooping softly as she listened to the moonflower's hum. It was soft, and melodic, and it seemed to blend perfectly with the gurgle of the brook and the rustle of the wind. She closed her eyes and took a slow breath, in and out, letting the sound fill her ears and her heart. For a moment, her thoughts slowed down, and she felt a little calmer. Look up, Hugo said softly. Mia opened her eyes and looked at the sky. The moon was higher now, shining brighter than ever, and the stars were twinkling like tiny lights, as if they were joining in the moonflower's song. In the distance, perched on a branch of an old oak tree, was a wise old owl named Professor Barnaby. He was the oldest animal in the night. Barnaby. The owl turned his big, round eyes glowing in the dark, and hooted softly, a warm, welcoming sound. Would you tell us a story? I think a story might help me sleep. Professor Barnaby fluttered down from his branch and landed gently on the rock beside them, his wings folding neatly at his sides. His feathers were gray and soft, and his face was lined with wisdom, like the bark of the old. Of course, his voice deep, like a cozy fire. Moon and a little fox mind was too busy. Once upon a time, Sir Barnaby began dipping the story in a soft blanket. There was a little fox who lived in a forest like this one. Lila would curl up in, but she could thought about the food she'd gather the next day, the friends, the things she was scared of. She thought everything, and her work kept her. One night, Lila decided to go out to find the moon. Thought the moon would help her sleep. She walked through the full moonlight. There, she met a hedgehog with a moonflower, just like Hedgehog told her to listen to Moonflower's song. But Lila was too busy worrying to listen. That night is a time to rest. All our worries can wait. Morning, sun rises, and the world is bright again. The owl told her to close her eyes, slowly. The moon's light round her, like a, the owl said. Her eye breathed in the cool night air and gurgle. She let go, her heart was calm. And she was asleep, sweet and warm hugs. On. Lila would come to the brook, listen to the moonflower's song, and let her heart. Had trouble sleeping again. Professed the story, and the forest fell quiet. Mia listened, her eyes growing heavy of the moon on her fur. The worries were melting away, like snow. And Professor Barnaby, Mia whispered, her voice sleepy. That's exactly what I needed. I feel calm now, and I'm starting to feel sleepy. Professor Barnaby smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. Sleep is a gift, little Mia. It's not something you have to fight for, it's something you let come to you, when your heart is calm and your mind is quiet. Listen again to the moonflower, feel the moon's light, and let sleep wrap around you like a warm blanket. Mia closed her eyes again, listening to the moonflower's hum. She breathed slowly, in and out, feeling the calm seep into every part of her body. She heard the brook gurgling, the wind rustling through the leaves, and the moonflower. Her body relaxed completely, her paws, her take a cozy. I'm so Mia whispered, a smile tugging at her. Thank you, the moonflower, for the story. Your flower gently beside. I'll leave the moonflower here with you, so it can sing you to sleep. It will guard you all night long. Good night, Mia, Professor Barnaby said, fluttering back to his branch. Sleep well, little one. The moon is watching over you, and the forest is keeping you safe. Mia nodded, her eyes still closed. She slowly stood up, her legs feeling light and wobbly, and trotted back across the brook, guided by the soft light of the moonflower. She crawled back into her cozy den, lay down on her bed of wool and apple leaves, and pulled the moonflower close to her chest. Its warm light and gentle hum wrapped around her, like a hug from a friend. Good night, Hugo, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Good night, Professor Barnaby. Good night, Moonflower. Good night, Moon. The moonflower's hum grew softer, and the moonlight streamed through the cracks of her den, warming her fur. Mia's breathing slowed down, becoming deep and steady. She no longer thought about the sheep, the honeycomb, or the little girl. Her mind was quiet, her heart was calm, and sleep was wrapping around her like a soft, warm blanket. In her dream, she was trotting through a moonlit meadow, with the moonflower in her paw and Hugo by her side. They danced under the stars, listened to Professor Barnaby tell more stories, and drank from the brook's cool water. Everything in her dream was warm and beautiful, full of joy and peace, and she laughed softly in her sleep, her voice as light as a feather. Outside, the night continued to unfold gently. The moon glided across the sky, its silver light covering the forest, the brook, and Mia's den. The stars twinkled softly, as if they were watching over her, and the moonflower's hum drifted through the forest, helping other little animals sleep soundly. Hugo trotted back to his own den, smiling, knowing he'd helped a friend find peace. Professor Barnaby perched on his branch, watching over the forest, his eyes soft and wise. The brook gurgled on, the wind rustled through the leaves, and the moon shone every creature. Good night, little Mia. Good night, gentle. Good night. Good night, and Hugo. Wildflower. May you all have sweet dreams, and may the moon's light guard all your worries melt away. Moonlight. Have a dream. Good night. The moonlight flare, wrapping around every cord softly in their den, did gently in its nest. And the ladybugs curled up tighter under the daisy leaves, all sleeping soundly on Hugo flowers and new friends. Professor, resting for a moment, its hum fading into the night, as if it was singing one last lullaby before the morning came. The brook kept gurgling its gentle the water riftly, where the moonlight brook exhaled quietly, drifting into a breath of sleeping. The wind blew morty, and the den entrances making a sob, as if telling the whole piece, for the night is in warm. Slept more and more soundly. Her breathing slow and steady. She was still trotting, dancing with, and listening to Professor Barnaby tell story foxes and hedge story that the night forgets. She laughed soft, her voice as light as floating, slowly moved across the fading, blinked lazily, animals. Good night, dear Willowbrook, and when you wake up, the first ray of morning sun will kiss your face, the fresh dew will